Hey everyone, it's Flak. Despite all its faults, Battlefield 5 is still one of the most detailed FPS games available. In previous videos, we've checked out dozens of cool details and hidden secrets. If you missed out on those, be sure to click the link here on the screen for more. In the meantime, let's check out 10 more details in Battlefield 5 that might have flown under the radar for you. First up, let's check out the Japanese Kami amphibious tank. This vehicle is wonderfully animated, showcasing just why the little things count. If you pay close attention, you'll notice the propellers engage when the vehicle enters the water and then cut out when it reemerges onto dry land. As for steering in open water, the Kami's rudders actually work, and you can see the apparatus used to turn them rotating with wired controls. Next is a detail you can find on the Allied LSTs. Most players don't spend a lot of time on these ships, just long enough to hop into a Higgins boat or an LVT, and in doing so they miss out on a pretty cool detail. You can actually use the rope nets on the side of the ship. In actual operations, these nets were used by troops to embark their landing craft before staging and then hitting the beaches, so it's pretty cool you can actually use them in Battlefield 5. It also saves you the time instead of swimming around to the front of the ship if you accidentally fall overboard. Our third detail might surprise you, quite literally. On Pacific Storm, you'll probably spend quite a bit of time in the water. There you'll encounter harmless wildlife like fish and sea turtles, but something else lurks beneath the waves. Black-tip sharks patrol the waters on the map, and if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it really bites. The shark will take a chunk out of you, 51 health to be precise. The shark is only dangerous when it charges, and DICE actually employed a cool little trick to make the bite seem even more alarming. The shark attack actually happens well ahead of the shark, so you literally never see it coming. It also pulls you under the water, giving you time to spin around wildly only to see the shark either sprinting towards you or swimming away. Historically, shark attacks were not unheard of in the Pacific Theater. In fact, one of the most infamous incidents involved the cruiser USS Indianapolis. She was torpedoed returning from a mission in 1945, and the survivors endured days of lethal shark attacks. For number 4, we need to take a close look at the new elites, Jack Culver and Keisuke Nakamura. Both of these soldiers are wearing some form of body armor. Jack is wearing a United States Army Air Force's flak jacket, while Keisuke is equipped with a type of metal cuirass. Although neither of these inventions would be considered bulletproof, they would have been somewhat effective against shrapnel. And both of these were actually used, though for the Americans it was exceedingly rare to see a non-airman toting an armored vest. Yet it did happen. These engineers at the Siegfried Line were likely issued them for protection as they cleared obstacles like mines and booby traps. Fifth is the Bikini Atoll skin for the Corsair in Battlefield 5. To the untrained eye, this might look like a debug skin or some kind of computer error, but it's actually one of the coolest historical details in the War in the Pacific expansion. This brilliantly visible paint job was specifically designed to be seen. After all, it was applied to drone aircraft. The camo's name is a direct reference to the location where the US tested a total of 23 nuclear weapons from 1946 to 1958. Drones were used here to measure the impact of radioactivity on aircraft, electronics, and more. Perhaps a more appropriate name for the skin would be the RAD Baron. That's all the dad jokes, I promise. Either way, it's one of my favorite vehicle skins in Battlefield 5, thanks in large part to its historical background. Our next detail keeps with the historical theme, but it's, well, a bit more subtle than a bright red airplane. On Battlefield 5's Arras map, you'll see plenty of life, trees, fields, birds, and even bugs. But there's a stark reminder of the death that once consumed this area. Poppies dot the map. Synonymous with World War I, this flower only blooms on disturbed soil, something made plentiful by the bullets and bombs of the Great War. Arras is, of course, located in France, and it did see some heavy fighting in 1917. German and British troops clashed here again in 1940, and the poppies bear witness to the horrors of two wars. One of the pre-order bonuses for Battlefield 5 also recognizes this fact. The Arras weapon skins for World War I weapons like the Gewehr 95 and the Lewis LMG include the date of the original battle and the unfortunately ignored phrase, "lest we forget." Number 7 is a simple one, and you'll find it in the large bunker near the beaches of Iwo Jima. Inside this structure, you'll find a useful firing port. This can be used to guard the eastern side of the bunker and can also be shut for additional protection. If you're on the team attacking the bunker and want to avoid getting shredded in that doorway, build the rope ladder outside and scale the bunker to sneak in the bag. Up next is another vehicle detail, this one from the inside of the Japanese Zero. Many World War II era airplanes all have their weapons located in the wing, but that's not the case for the Zero. In this plane's cockpit, you can actually see the receivers of the twin 303 machine guns mounted in the engine cowling. Many players prefer the third-person view with aircraft, so you might not have noticed the visible recoil from the machine guns as they chatter away, unless you happen to pop into first person and take a look around. Ninth is a cool detail on the Browning M1919. As much as many of us loathe medium machine guns in Battlefield 5, there's no getting around the fact that they have some of the coolest reloads and cooldown animations. The Browning is no exception. Unlike other machine guns like the MG42, the Browning doesn't have a quick change barrel. Changing the barrel serves as a weapon balance mechanic in Battlefield 5, so how did DICE balance the Browning? They just made it jam. When the weapon overheats, it stops firing, and you can actually see your soldier tug on the ammo belt and pull the bolt back and release it in an effort to clear the jam. This is straight out of the weapon's manual, although you're technically supposed to tap the cover first. Regardless, it's still really neat to see in Battlefield 5. Number 10 are the maps on the Pacific maps. If you search the houses on Pacific Storm and the bunkers on Iwo Jima, you'll discover detailed maps of the gameplay area. If you look close enough, you can actually spot icons for resupply stations, bunkers, and other defensive works. Although the maps aren't 100% accurate, they can be helpful in learning where objectives are and other important information. There are also a couple puzzling markings that don't really seem to correspond with anything on the map, so they could just be outdated, or perhaps they're hinting at something that is yet to be discovered. And look at that, you made it this far. So how about a couple more details? Dotted across the map on Battlefield 5 are familiar transport trucks. Now these set pieces provide cover and sneaky locations for spawn beacons, but they're also very detailed, down to the tires that actually deflate when they get shot. In another details video, I previously showcased the Weapon Inspect feature. In case you forgot, it's the I key on keyboard or right bumper and then reload on consoles. And when using the Lee Enfield rifle in Battlefield 5, your character actually uses the Mad Minute finger. Combining these two, I was actually surprised to see the Mad Minute finger reflected on the inspection of the weapon. For another weapon detail, the katana is a brutal weapon in Battlefield 5. It can cut a swath of destruction against enemies in close quarters. However, it's also the only melee weapon in the game that is effective against barbed wire. Now, Battlefield 1 had a much deeper melee system involving destruction and vehicle damage, so it is nice to get just a little bit of that back into Battlefield 5. And lastly, you'll find some baskets of rice on Pacific Storm. These can actually be destroyed if you want to be really petty and force the home's occupants to spend hours picking up grains of rice after the battle. That's all for this episode of Battlefield 5 Details. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to tell me your favorite in the comments below. And if there are any cool details you haven't seen featured in a video yet, tell me. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you want to support the channel, sharing these videos goes a long way. And make sure to check out my Twitter and other social media links in the video description. I also occasionally stream on Mixer if you want to check that out. And as always, thanks for watching.